Now to a Kelly File exclusive. On the story of a beautiful woman, powerful generals, and it would seem one very jealous mistress. It all started in 2012. The world was stunned to learn that war hero turned CIA director General David Petraeus had an affair outside of his marriage that ultimately cost him his job. Tonight, the woman who unwittingly exposed that affair is ready to talk. We'll be joined by Jill Kelly in moments. But first, Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen takes us back through the scandal.
Megan, good evening. She was most often described as a Tampa socialite, but Jill Kelly was and remains a married mother of three whose role as an honorary diplomat for top brass at U.S. Central Command ultimately led to the ruin of two of America's top military officers. It was Kelly who in 2012 started receiving menacing emails from an anonymous woman whom authorities later identified as Paula Broadwell, the authorized biographer and secret mistress of David Petraeus, the married four-star general who had become director of CIA. Broadwell's threats, later ruled to be emotional outbursts and not crimes, also triggered the exposure of a long series of chatty, sometimes flirty emails that Kelly had exchanged with General John Allen, the commander of Allied forces in Afghanistan. The Pentagon's Inspector General later cleared Allen of any wrongdoing, but he retired in 2013 after then Defense Secretary Leon Panetta suspended Allen's nomination to lead the European Command. Petraeus resigned from CIA and ultimately pleaded guilty last April to a misdemeanor charge of mishandling classified information that he made available to Broadwell, a crime for which the general received 2 years probation and a $100,000 fine. Kelly saw herself trashed in tabloid media and online as a status-seeking bimbo seducing two of the country's top generals, charges she denies. With her lawsuits against the FBI and the Defense Department exhausted, Kelly has told her side of the story in a new book in which she reprints some of the emails. Her husband, an accomplished surgeon, has stood by her throughout. Megan?
James Rosen, thank you. Joining me now, Jill Kelly, author of the new book, Collateral Damage, Petraeus, Power, Politics, and the Abuse of Privacy, The Untold Story. Jill, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So you say you did not have an affair with either of these generals, nor at all outside of your marriage.
I had never had an affair in my life.
So you first got you're friends with these guys. You know Petraeus, you know General Allen, and the next thing that happens to you is you start to get these weird, threatening emails. This is how the trouble started.
Right. It actually began with General Allen and Petraeus and Mattis and other top officials were getting the emails a month beforehand. They finally arrived in my husband's inbox a month later.
What did they say? Things like what?
They said, we will shame, it was we, so we thought it was obviously a terrorist group or organized crime. We will shame U.S. generals, top officials, and foreign ambassador headline news, including their spouses. The person alluded, or they were alluding that I was being followed and photographed. And my comings and going were something that were very discreet, important, and it was very important to be that discreet because of the people that I was meeting with. When my husband received that email, he was obviously very frightened. We had three small kids at the time, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 9-year-old, 3 little girls. We called General Allen, and General Allen said, you must go to the FBI. You had 3 little kids at home.
So you did?
And we did. And he said, you could trust the FBI, which was something I regret. Biggest mistake in my life.
Why?
Because when the FBI promised me, now here I am as a mother of 3 kids, not behind guarded gates, no bodyguards, nothing. I trusted them. They said, we're going to protect you. We will not allow this to happen. And as you know, everything that happened, everything that was said happened, exactly. But then after that, instead of telling me who my stalker was, instead of telling the Director Petraeus who his stalker was, they allowed us to stay harassed, stalked, intimidated until after the election.
And you allege that's because they didn't want the whole General Petraeus affair with this woman to come out until after the election, until after the 2012 election. Let's just take a step back, because there did come a time when you found out who this person was behind the emails, and General Petraeus was the one who told you.
That's correct.
And tell us about that moment.
He was, when the FBI, now the FBI never told me that they found out who the person was within 2 weeks of the reporting it. Instead, they kept alluding that, oh no, we don't know who it is. And then they decided, after knowing who the person was, went and searched my personal emails to dig up dirt on my friends, going into my emails just to believe that I was having an affair.
But it was General David Petraeus who told you that it was Paula Broadwell, his former lover.
Right. He said, Jill, it's Paula Broadwell. And of course I don't know who Paula Broadwell is. I never met the lady in my life, and nor did any
She
of us.
thought that you were fooling around with General Petraeus.
I don't know what she thought, but obviously she was wrong. And what bothers me most is these government officials that we trust went after the same sexist speculation just to dig up the fact that I could be having an affair, instead of protecting me and my family. And when they didn't see it happen, they still went ahead and leaked it to the American public. The most sexist...
You believe they wanted to get rid of Petraeus, but they wanted to wait until Barack Obama had been reelected.
Right, and it was very... And one FBI agent, as you see in it, Frederick Humphreys, who was also smeared, he tells me, calls me up and tells me, Jill, Petraeus and Allen will be coming down after the election. And that's 6 months before the election.
Wow.
Completely
unbelievable
planned.
story,
Very
Jill.
sad.
I know you've documented it, and James Rosen has outlined it as well. Thank you for being here. And
Thank
telling
you for
your story to
having
us.
me.
Jill Kelly.